Hello, this is Greg Allison from Green Gregs and Galactic Gregs coming to you on 31st of January 2021. Time on deck, 2000 hours Eastern Standard Time. Imagine a concept greener than anything you've ever seen. Green, beyond Greta Green even. Yet a concept that will not challenge your standard of living. A concept in which you can live at as high a standard of living, maybe higher. In fact, everybody on earth could live at the same standard of living without producing more greenhouse gases, without taxing the environment. In fact, it would take away the carbon footprint. It would take away the tax on the environment, and it would maintain freedoms, unlike all these other things that they try to roll out upon you. A concept that's sustainable, a concept that's resilient, a concept that is so resilient that it's largely earthquake proof, largely tornado proof. It would withstand fires a lot better than current homes. This is based at its core on a home I call a harmony habitat, a universal habitat that could be put anywhere and be built cheaply, be built from local resources right on the site from which you build it, for the most part, for the most bulk. It could be built robotically or with human labor. It can be built easily or more painstakingly, depending on what kind of home you choose. But this is a concept that will reduce the amount of traffic needed. You won't need to drive so much because you'll have a home you can live out of, make a living out of, and grow your food out of. All of this. And if you don't like growing food, hey, we can make it robotic too. We could work it. We can make it something you do or something a robot do just for you. Now wait a minute. So this concept would also reduce dramatically the need for highways, for pipelines, for electrical grid, for distributed utilities. Yeah, you'll still need communications. You'd still want fiber optics. You would still have an internet if you want it, if you choose it, because that might be able to enhance your ability to work from home, to do things other than what you'd be producing in your home. So we're going to go all in that. We're going to discuss this. This concept is green beyond green. Because why? The biggest cost of energy in America is home heating and hot water heating in a home. Heating and cooling. Well, heating and cooling a home, producing hot water, and of course there's the energy used by the home itself. All that can be managed in an unbelievable way, in so many unbelievable ways, you're just not going to believe it. And we're going to be using the environment. So this idea is green, not just green in terms of environmental impact. It's literally green because you'll be growing green in your home. It's green beyond green, like I said, beyond Greta Green. Except, hey, this is something both sides of the political spectrum could embrace happily, not just one side, because this serves everyone. That's the way it needs to be. And here's let's see, let me step through this presentation here. It's locked. Why is it locked? Here we go. Here we are. Look at this. Yeah, this is a concept a little bit bigger than my normal home concept. I will get back to what this is and where this is later. This is just the prettiest picture I've got it, because the rest of them are drawn by hand. I'll explain this more in a moment. This is what I drew by hand earlier, upon which this was based, okay? Now this, some of you have seen this, but I'm going to show some other versions, some of which some of you have seen, but not quite, probably not most, not put together in this fashion. This is a concept for a home mainly built out of earth bags. You could distribute from concrete. I think this is about, each square here is about a foot. This whole home is intended to cover 1/10 of an acre. 1/10 of an acre would be enclosed inside this compound. But that's your yard, home, and everything. You could have additional yard, indeed. And it could be, this one is shown to be partially below ground. It's not necessary, especially if you're having a thermal mass in these walls, because I think this particular drawing has a 1 foot thick wall. I would actually advocate you make them 18 inches or 2 foot. And you can get sandbags that are 18 inches wide, or you can pile two 12-inch wide sandbags. You can build these out of tires and make them even bigger, but it's a lot of labor to pound dirt and sand into tires. These are kind of like the earthship concept, kind of like, but it's not an earthship, because that's a patented concept, and it's a little different layout, and it doesn't grow all your food. It's got a tiny greenhouse. This has got a huge greenhouse. So I'm going to show you different layouts here. Some of you have seen this layout before in previous presentations, but I'm going to pitch this. I'm going to tie all this together to you in a different way here today. So this is why you want to hang on your seats, buckle up, because you're about to see the greenest concept on earth and beyond. Something that you will want. Well, I'm going to build this thing. I'm going to build prototypes of this in Alabama and in Arizona, two separate climates, completely different climatic zones, to really ferret this out, this concept out for you. Okay, guys? Now, let's go to the floor pan. Let's see, there's the, actually, this one has got this floor plan. This is a hexagon. And we're looking at, when we're looking at this, we're looking edge on right here at this point, looking this away. And this concept has a large growing area here, and it's got a living room area, kitchen, and 3 bedrooms. It's got a master bath and another bath, big living area. I mean, this area right here is over 2,000 square feet, because this whole thing is, if you look at what's inside these lines here, this is 4,360 feet. No, 4,536 feet, excuse me, 4,536 feet. That's what's enclosed inside of here. Now, you might want a little different layout to get a little more sun if you have a low sun angle. And I showed the ways to do that. Of course, you don't have to word it the way I show here. There's a lot of latitude here, but here's the key thing. The way I've drawn this out, you actually have a whole area. It's a workshop. This is a 20th of an acre, basically. So is this. This is over 2,000 square feet. I mean, you take how much room is each level here, and each level here, take, 4,356 divided by half. Sans walls and thicknesses. So, like I said, it's over 2,000 square feet per level here. So you got a workshop area here. This is intended to be garage, workshop. You could have a 3D printer in here. You could have a lathe. You could have a pottery wheel. You could have a loom. You could have a server farm, an office, a bar. You could have a worm farm, a mushroom farm, anything that don't require a lot of lights or artificial lighting. You could grow microgreens. You could grow a heck of a lot of microgreens in a portion of this. Same thing with mushrooms. 2,000 square foot allows you to do quite a bit, actually. You could have a restaurant in here, a little tiny restaurant, or a boutique shop. You could have, you name it. Or this could be your man cave, woman cave, a really big one. Extra bedrooms, extra family rooms. This is your choice what you could put in here. But you could have all kinds of means of making a living down here. But on a 1/10 of an acre, it's quite possible you can make a total living off that. I'll grant you can do it from gardening, growing in here. I'm showing growing food on this wall here. I'm showing growing food on the ground. I'm showing the aquaponics system. I'm showing where you got the shadows more prevalent. Maybe growing a few mushrooms out here and rabbits and maybe some worms here. So you don't have to put all that in here. But you could have, you'll have quite a bit of light here. You could put tubes up here to run your aquaponics water. And then that means you could have really, instead of a 1/10 of an acre, you could have 15% of an acre. That would get your growing area 50% larger. I would have you growing on the upper deck up here, but I'm also thinking that between the plants rows, you might put a walkway with a graded floor that would enable you to put windows underneath it, like a metal grate, and just walk over it, and you could shine light a little better down below. This is showing a low sun angle, and into a living room area. That's about as much room as your as the airships have for growing food. Well, I've gone way beyond that. I'm going to show you why. It's based on what the Dervaes family in Pasadena, California does. On a 1/10 of an acre, the Dervaes family of Pasadena, California grows enough food, except for the grain products, to feed a family of 4. It did feed a family of 4 when the father was still alive. And they sold the excess food off of it and made a living. The Dervaes family fully made a living off of their 1/10 of an acre in their backyard. Well, I've taken their backyard and I left half of it here and I put half of it on the roof because they didn't use the roof, and they had a garage and a driveway and all kind of other stuff on their lot. So I've just come up with a much more efficient packaging scheme that will allow a home and garden to be integrated a lot tighter and a lot better in terms of space. Doesn't mean you have to do it this way, but this is quite the art of the possible. Now, in a home like this, you could have, I showed a notional greenhouse up here. I didn't ink it in or draw it in heavy because you could, make a dome. You could have a teepee. You could have a, hoop house, you could do it. Many different architectural. You could have it shaped like this. The regular gable. I'm showing a vent up here, but I would have vents that you would control open and close as you needed to. Because a vent up here that's open and closable, because you don't have warm air gathering in here if you vent it out. And if you put air tubes through the ground, if you put tubes underneath the ground and run them through, the ground temperature is normally in most places about 55 degrees Fahrenheit, and you could put a cover over it. It would suck air through that cool conduit pipe in the ground and actually air condition your living space. Even some of this area might be a little bit air conditioned, because that could be a little bit shaded, especially if you have grow tubes up here. Now I'm showing over here, you'd have your upper floor, your kitchen, bathrooms over here, and your living area, and your bedrooms back over here. So over here where you use the most hot water, you got a hot water solar panel here, closer to the usage area of the hot water. I'm showing electrical power solar panels here. So you're not going to have to heat your home or cool your home. You're not going to have to heat your water. So your need for electricity in a home like this would be much smaller. Now the earthships in Taos, New Mexico, collect all the water they use is rainwater, and they reuse that water through a four-step process. And their collection area equals something about the size of this. You could collect off this entire rooftop and get far more water collection. Now they use their they only get 10 inches of rain per year where they're at. So you compare that to what's available here in collection area when you got a lot more collection area. And I really favor using composting toilets and using urine as fertilizer, or recycling it, maybe for plants you don't eat. If you're taking medicinals or you're picky about that stuff in your medicinal that's not organic, that's the reason you need to go to organic medicinals. And you'll need to if you're living in space and a closed loop life support system, because you can't handle all those dead chemical medicinals that mess up the environment. I really think we need to go away from them here on Earth, because they mess up the environment, give you, three-eyed frogs and, frogs that are having gender issues. And so that means the frogs aren't reproducing. We need frogs, by the way. I like frogs. Maybe we should have a frog farm in here. But anyway, so you could increase the growing area, do some vertical growing. The Dervaes do some vertical growing on the wall around the outside of their compound. So that simulates what the Dervaes family does. Now, like I said, that is based on this. Now, an alternate floor layout, an alternate side view would be something that's longer, more rectangular. And I had a particular schematic I drew here back in October showing this is the same area, 2,300 square foot for a workshop. This is the same as the other home. It's just got a different layout. It's more narrow in the back. I'll show you in a minute. It's got a bedroom, kitchen area, and dining room, living area. I'm showing dotted line here. The idea you might could do dot and have windows if you wanted. You could do the skylights anywhere you wanted to, actually. And I'm showing one, maybe even two levels of aquaponic cubes if you wanted. Now, I designed this initially for an area a little bit higher bit of sunlight than we have in most temperate climates you're accustomed to. I'll show you shortly. This thing is 90 foot from here to here and 50 foot wide. If you're in a circle, a circle diameter of a circle would be about 37, a little better than 37 feet. Now here I'm showing a back wall that's really high, because this is based on something that's sloped. You don't have to have this. This is just optional for what I'm showing here. I'm showing a roadway in the front here because I drew this to be in a community, a fairly tight-packed community. I'll show you more on that in the future, but this could be put anywhere, out in the woods, on a mountainside. Yeah, it's got quite a slope, so it would fit a mountainside scenario pretty well. Now this is looking down on that plan. Okay, you see this is the side view. That's looking straight down on it, side down. Now you can see, oh, you got plenty of room here. I mean, look, this living room area and kitchen is so huge. You could relay this out any way you want. I got a big private study here, a walk-in closet, a big master bath, a big master bedroom, another bath, and two other bedrooms. So this is a 3-bedroom home with tons of room. Look, it's 2,300 square feet up here, 2,300 square feet. That's pretty big. And then you got this courtyard. This courtyard is also 2,300 square feet, okay? And then, oops. Yeah, let's go back. There we are. How did it skip that? Must have hit it too fast. So it shows you, actually you would have, but this one's going to be about 4,500 square foot total. Outer footprint from, you know, outside wall to here to here. So yeah, and then the inner, what you would do is, now these walls are 2 foot thick. It's drawn here. This is all 2 foot thick walls. These are thick walls, all drawn to scale. I didn't draw a thick wall here because you might be looking out over this way. This could be open for view, or you could close it, whatever is best according to you, or partially close it. I mean, you could have a wall here. It comes up part way, or all the way, or even up to here. That's all to your choosing. So again, that's how you can outfit it. Looking side view. Oh yeah, you can outfit these inside. You can lay them out any way you want, especially the bottom. Again, now, where would I use this thing? Oh yeah, here's another rectangular view. This one is wider and not as long this way. You see, you got a lot. If you're just putting these out on the ground somewhere, you got all kind of flexibility. You can build them circular, rectangular, square. See, this is a squarer version. I think it's still a little bit on the rectangular side. Yeah, that's still rectangular, but not as narrow a rectangle. I drew that narrow rectangle for a purpose, you'll see shortly, but it actually has more room inside because those would actually be pie slices instead of true rectangles. Now here's you can take the hexagons and put them together. Yeah, that's the cool thing about hexagons. They're stacked like beehive units. So you could build them all together. You have homes in the center, around the edges, or you can have an open courtyard in the center. You could pie slice, divide them between the adjacent, or you can have an open community area. You know, there's a lot of flexibility of what you could do with this design. I'm showing from here to here being 119 feet. Why didn't I draw all the way across? I don't know. But I've got various dimensions, 308 feet there. So that's all, you know, that would fit on my lot where I live here easily. So some of the calculations for figuring the angles, the lengths, all the lengths of the sides, how it all fits together. Yeah, I did a lot of math on it. Food, heck, can you really feed people out of this? Well, you know, there's a study that says that Americans eat 1,996 pounds of food per year, the average American. And so, and they said, no, they broke it down by how much cheese and pounds of fat and oils and all that kind of stuff, right? So what we could do and should do is convert more of that to fresh fruits and vegetables. That would be a lot better for your health. You don't need all the carbs and such, not for most of what we do in our daily life these days. But I'm not saying to cut back on meat like some people say. Back to the Dervaes family. On 1/10 of an acre, they grow 7,000 pounds of food a year. Divided by 1996, that would feed 3.5 people. Like I said, they get their grain products elsewhere. They buy their grain products, you know, from the source. So that's what makes up for the difference. Well, you can actually grow more than this. They grow everything raised bed garden, no high tech used in any of it. Okay, it's just stuff anybody could do if you just do it. It's a lot of work, but they get a lot of reward from it. They have a very high degree of satisfaction in their lives because they're not in a rat race. They're not driving and fighting their way to work. Imagine this: you're living out of your home, making a living out of a home. You don't have to fight the rat race to get to work, guys. Just imagine that. So this kind of goes further into the, oh yeah, I'm showing here that if I put the aquaponics tubes in, I'm increasing the grow area by, 50%. So you can feed 5.3 people. So you could absolutely feed 4 people and have some left over to sell. But you're not, this isn't stuff for the grains. You could grow the grains. You can grow other food a lot more. You can put them in racks and grow more food in the subterranean portion of this home. That also makes a good fallout shelter. Makes a good. This whole home is a fortress. It's a fallout shelter. It's easily defended. It's this is a tough facility. You could see this walkway here. Yeah, kind of remind you of what you might find in the old-fashioned forts. Yeah, this is a very defensible home, guys. Put this dirt all the way across. Yeah, it would be hard to ferret somebody out of here unless it was a military with bunker busters. But then if everybody's living in these, they don't have that many. You don't have that much ammo. So, yeah, I'm showing a little window here by the kitchen. Check that out, and the berm coming up to it. This could be ground level here, or you could have a light, mirrors pull in light. This whole thing could be underground. If you're in an area that don't drain too well, you can build this whole thing above ground and put berms up the side, or just Just have sandbags, 2 foot, 18 inches of sandbag, 18-inch thick wall is supposed to be enough to give you almost the thermal effects of living underground. So this is a great idea. The big thing about it is that you get to live out of the home. See, guys, with modern technology, most of us can work from home already. A lot of us can work. I'm set up to work from home as I am. Factories would be, yeah, you put 3D printers in your home. You'd make a lot of stuff you need. You could probably sell some stuff from the 3D printers too, or sell piece parts to somebody else. You could have a little trade going. You can, if you can't grow stuff, there are ways to build robots that are like 3D printers that could move about over the crop area and deal with your crops for you. That software will be in line for that within the next few years. It's already out there being used. So there's ways that if you don't grow, this could be set up where it could still grow, or you could share crop it out to somebody else. That might be the easiest way to deal with it. And you don't have to do nothing. Now, growing up here and growing here, you still get that 1/10 of an acre plus this. So you got the Dervaes units in here. You could totally have this as a recreational area and still have as much growing areas that the Dervaes family has. Get that, guys. So, but look, you can do all kind of enterprises in this area. Now, there will still be a need for, server farms. There's still going to be, which you can put those in there. There's going to be some needs for fiber optics and some communications, and there will still be jobs. There'll still be shipbuilding, people making fiber optics and computers. There will still be some shops and things like that. So there's still things that you'll want to buy. So jobs won't disappear by any means. So some people will still be working from out of home, but the need for travel will be lessened a lot. So you won't need as much traffic. You won't need as many automobiles. You won't need as many roads. The roads will be underutilized. Utilities will be underutilized. Maybe we could build new stuff by pulling up utility lines, by taking down power lines and transmission poles and repurposing the metals in them. So we could, city centers will be of very little value. Industrial parks won't be as prime. Some of that might be converted into stuff like this, or homes, other grow areas. Same way in the city centers. Guys, this would change everything. It's going to change everything. Now, you'll be living in a home like this. If you can live in a home and be totally independent. Look, you're going to have all your food, your water, your power. What do you need from anybody else? What do you really need? So if the government's going to come to you taxing you, you're going to have to say, well, what are you bringing back to me in value? I got everything I need. What value? What is the value proposition of you taking money from me? They're going to have to really justify it at that point. Because guess what? You can do most of your education. See, what we're learning with this new bug thing is you can do most of your education from home. You can work from home. The kids could school from home. Yeah, there's still some need for social interaction. You can still have social interaction, and you can have your cities and communities. I really believe these should be built into communities. That's why I show the hex. That's why I show them all to get gathered up like this, or in other arrangements. I'll show you some more of that in a minute. So communities are key. I think communities are what we need, but you can socially isolate if you need to. If there's a worse bug than what we've seen, you got everything you need right here. You don't have to go anywhere. You're totally self-contained. Put a roof over this. You could even make this thing where the only air that comes inside of this comes in through a HEPA filter, or some other kind of filtration system, or through a bed of UV lights that would kill everything coming in. You could literally totally isolate bio-wise through a HEPA filter, get most of your chemicals out. This home could be so resilient. It will be resilient environmentally. You build it from the dirt here. You build it from the dirt on site, and you put them into sandbags, earth bags, whatever you want to call them, and you can get those in tubes. They don't just come in bags. Or you can pound it into tires like the guys do with the earthships. But that requires a whole lot of labor. And the earthship, the most expensive thing about earthship is the labor. The materials are nothing, but the labor costs more than a regular house, maybe twice as much. It's because they got you pounding all that stuff in. You don't have to do that. In fact, this whole thing, these walls could be printed with a 3D printer, robot extruding concrete. There's already work on that. And I'm showing a little rainwater collection catchment here, a little cup to catch, and a pipe, and tubes and pipes for catching rainwater. So yeah. The whole idea is to catch the rainwater, guys. Some places don't allow it. Okay, then you don't. Guys, you don't even have to be connected to a septic tank. Of course, there probably code requires, so put it in. Don't mean you got to use it. You can have another toilet besides the legal toilet and just be composted. Oh, power. They require my community. We have to tie in the grid. Okay, bring the grid up to your house, put a meter out there, and put an outdoors light on it, and then wire everything inside separately. Don't use their power. Guys, if you want your house to burn down, tie into the grid. Oh, great, but I got these devices to protect my home. Really? Really? Ha, 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 ha. No. Don't connect. That's the best way to protect your home. Get off grid. Hey, another thing, this home offers so much protection against wind and other things like that, especially if you built it totally underground, which you totally could. This could be ground level right here. Or maybe even lower. This could be ground level, absolutely. Absolutely. Now let me show you a little bit more. Talking about how much food people eat. Yeah, you can grow your food. Here's a website I pulled up talking about foods, which they said, how much food can Acre produce? Well, it says, how many people can an acre support? It depends on how you do it. It's a complicated question, ranging from about 1 to maybe 100,000. Yeah, I've seen concepts for, increased. Look, you can get into 20% more food production if you just increase the CO2 where the plants are growing. Plants really like more CO2. But there's other ways to do that also. There's plenty of ways to increase the food production. Now, what was this really intended to go into? Well, I drew it to go into the concentric circles. So even though I drew this as a square, I could have drawn it as being pie shaped, with this being the front end. The front end was what this pie shape was based on. So this would have actually ballooned out and been a lot bigger for this concept here. You'd have a lot more growing area in each home. Because I was going to have terraces. That's 200 foot across here, a center park. Then terraces, 20 terraces, 100 foot across on each one. 20 terraces, 100 feet across, just looking down. So, if you've seen some of the Venus Project Venus concept cities that were prototyping in Florida, yeah, it looks kind of like that, don't it? But you could keep growing more rings as you needed. You could set up something adjacent to them. Or I really like the idea of building these things on the north sideline and have it rectangular, and having terraces on the north side with being factories and schools and shops, anything where you want some windows and light looking north side, but where you want more intense light, put that on the south side, like the homes. And then in the center, you could have factories or other things, direct areas, dark growing areas, whatever. But you could also, on the roadways, all the roads could be graded. You see this roadway? That could be a grate. I was going to have roadways every so often between these two. I was going to space them, I think, 600 feet or something, city block standard apart. Roadways could all be grates with windows for decks below if you've got these things in a city. Yeah, you can do cities with these. You can put these out in the country, in the wilderness. You can build them in the cities, and you can put these cities just about anywhere. The same way with the homes. Yeah. Yeah, so here's my calculations based on that. I'm showing how many homes you can put on each deck, how many roads would be in each deck, number of streets for each deck. So you get a lot of them as you get it further out. Number of homes per terrace on the main terrace. Okay. The total, that's people. That's number of homes, and 4 people per home. So that's like 12,300 people. And something would be a mile across. And this is the idea for putting, taking 3 shipping container ships and putting a deck on them and putting homes on them. And that's about 33 acres. So you can put about 330 homes on that, which is about, it's comparable. Not quite the same, but about 1/10 of that. So you can put, 1,200 people there, roughly. Wow, that's a lot of people, quite a bit of people. So you can float these things on the ocean, but you don't have to put them on the deck of a boat like that or build a deck that way. It's just one idea. I mean, quite frankly, if you take this guy and build this as a hull instead of sandbags, maybe put sandbags beside the hull, it would float in the water. It's going to displace a lot of water. You can make a ship like this. Basically, it would be ship shaped, but you could build a ship just like this, a ship home. Then you could connect them up together directly if you so choose. Or you could take them and build them take those terraces and put them in really terraces instead of just rings, concentric rings, and put them in a bowl, and the whole thing could float in the water. And this idea was essentially for a terrace like that. Yeah. Or this could be the side of them, and you'd have room underneath each living area. So that's the home. And I showed a tree in there. One of the reasons I showed such a high incline was if you wanted to be able to grow tall trees, like 50 foot high, in case you wanted that. If you don't want that, this incline don't need to be that steep. That's a pretty steep incline, by the way. Don't have to be that way. Just that idea I was playing with. It gives you actually gives you more room underneath the homes than you got above them, quite a bit, for services, utilities, schools, other growing areas, other things. It gives you a ton of room, tons and tons of room if you want to go that way about it. What I had in mind, yeah, see, that is here. See that. See the correlation there. That's why I had this big tall wall behind it. But totally don't have to do it that way. That's just a design option. Oh, well, look, I got a mirror there. What is that for? Oh my gosh, just in a minute. Or this is the concept for it on Mars. Yes, Mars. The red dirt, concrete, or the moon. And I got a level of water overhead to block the radiation, and also to mitigate thermal temperature. Now that's just notional water. Actually, I'd hang probably 55-gallon barrels interspace where they wouldn't crack into each other with water, something like that. Water glass, transparent water barrels. Or Mars. Yes, Mars. Actually, that was intended to go on Mars, and that is, let's go back up. What I showed you earlier up here at the top. Wow, well, charts up. That is Mars. Oh, Green Greg's took us to Mars. Okay, if you don't believe in space, never mind. This will work on Earth, anywhere on Earth you want it, including the sky. Yes, you could float. You see those little terraces? What if they were in this incline in a bowl, and maybe you'd have an inverted one from below? That's why I got a mirror underneath them. You could float this in the sky on Earth skies. What? Ain't no way you can put all that in a balloon. This is a mile across. It's not a regular balloon. I mean, you can build that out of glass. Heavy stuff. In fact, you probably can't get enough weight in there almost. It's going to float so well. Let me show. Will it float? Oh, yeah, it'll float. Yeah, this is the idea. The bottom underneath this would be mirrored, and you could have another level down here to grow on. And more homes. This thing would hold a mile across, floating in the sky of Earth, 16,000 people, if you wanted to do it. Of course, there's a lot of other considerations. Like, this wasn't designed to float in the skies of Earth, but you could do that. You could, of course, have it where it's non-free flying, tethered with lots of guy lines that have to be really stout to hold this thing. But you could build it like the extension of a skyscraper. But let's see, is it buoyant? No way, Greg. So I can figure out the mathematics here for how many cubic feet are in them. So you got over 77 billion cubic feet. And I tossed out some just to make it easy. Let's actually see, that's what it was. I tossed all that out. I just rounded it to 77 billion cubic feet. And it's really too much. Because when you go through here and look at the temperature curves of buoyancy, you look at the density of air. This is Earth air, by the way, at 14.7 psi. This line is a 14.7 psi line. And I went between 86 degrees and 75.2 degrees. So I'm looking at the buoyancy difference of just 10 degrees difference in air. Well, 11. Actually 10.8 degrees, which is about, my greenhouse is usually without any supplemental heat 8 degrees warmer than it is outside. So you could practically get this just having that greenhouse dome over the top of it without any supplemental heat. In fact, at higher atmosphere, it'll probably be even hotter than that naturally. And in fact, this gives you more buoyancy than you want. I probably should have calculated between here and here and then figured out some way to cool it to keep the buoyancy down. This is too buoyant, as you're going to see in a moment. So if I go between this this curve here and this curve here, which is the purple and the blue, and I shot over here and looked at the density, and I figured out how many slugs per cubic foot it is. It all came as slugs. I did the math here. So a slug is 32.174 pounds. And I worked that out, so how many pounds of lift you get per cubic foot. And that don't sound like so many, but across 77 billion cubic feet. Oh my God, that's a huge amount of lift. 150 billion pounds of lift. Well, it's 6% difference in density. Wow. See what area does? See what volume does? Yeah, this is like 19,500 Saturn V rockets. Of course, the lift would go down as you go up. So you're not going to shoot into space. But this thing would be very buoyant, very buoyant. It will go very high. Yeah, there's a point at which it reaches inertial buoyancy. So you want to build those walls where they'll contain the pressure inside, but that can be done. But it will take, what will the weight do? So I worked out the weight of the homes, each home, how big they were, soil, 1/10 of an acre. I said, hey, we had a cubic foot of soil weighs 40 pounds, but we're going to do about 6 inches. So I figured out the weights of homes and soil. And I worked it all out. And it looks like we can have 12,000, 16,000 people in this place. And what it turns out is that that the excuse me, we could double the weight of all these homes and still have too much lift. There is more lift in this system than we need, far more. We need to weight it down. That's what it comes out to. But see, I actually designed this thing for Venus. And on Venus, the atmosphere is much denser. Yeah. Yeah, Earth's air's molar density is 29, and it's 44 on Venus. So it's 34% different, not 6%. Basically, you can take a house, and if you hermetically sell a home, it will float in the atmosphere of Venus at that level of Venetian atmosphere, where the atmosphere is one atmosphere, the same as on Earth. And the temperatures are the same as on Earth. Now, go figure that out. You get some sulfuric acid to it, but that can be dealt with. Yeah, that home on Venus gives you 1 trillion tons of lift. So yeah, you can see the growing area. So this is a home that can work anywhere on Earth, in the ocean, on the surface of Earth, in the ocean, desert, in Mars, Moon, Venus, and beyond. So this is a crazy, and this is the lower deck. This is what gets you up to 16,000 people on that mall. Yeah, this is back to Mars. There's Earth, there's Mars. This concept was based on this. This one actually is 30 meters in diameter. This was This was drawn out in a simulator in Kiteley. It's a total sim. You can go in there and fly around in it and go around. It's amazing. By my friend Mike Laurie. He did all that work based on that. Now I'm going to build one. I'm going to build one in a hole I got in the back of my ground here in North Alabama. I'm going to build one in Arizona. This is where I started. I started this on the concept of a Mike Ailer. This hole, I got to backfill it because the guy that dug my drain did not dig it deep enough, so it fills up with some water in the bottom still. So I've got to backfill the bottom before I get into building this. But this is the site where I'm going to build this thing right here in Alabama. Oh yeah, talking about tribes and groups. What was common of the Neolithic days? 50 to 1,000 people in Scandinavia, at least. So normal tribe, 50 to 1,000 people. It's pretty normal. Maybe 50 to 100. I'm showing density of carbon dioxide, how that affects this. Now, this is all, if you want to see how pretty this could be, see, these homes really need to be pretty. Beauty is a big part of it. I've done a video about nature baths. So having greenery inside is going to be real crucial to maintaining people's happiness. And it's good for your health because the plants pull pollutants out of the air. Now, this house is a house. These earthship houses are built on mostly recycled tires and bottles, a lot of recycled stuff, some concrete. They use some wood too, as you can see. But look at all these plants inside. Look how beautiful this is. That's what we want. We want stuff growing. We want a green habitat. Like I said, it's going to be the green. Now, so that's the garden area inside of earthship. That ain't nothing. That's nothing compared. Now, here's what they're using to control their wind vents up here, which pull air through their ground tubes. That's what their ground tubes look like. They got a screen on to keep varmints from coming in and out. And they got screens on both sides, which is important. Yes, varmints will come through your air systems if in some places, if you're not, they'll even come into your conventional home. I've had that problem, I just discovered. That's what your bottles look like. It's beautiful artwork. So there we go, guys. You can use different colored glasses. You can We should be very artistic in how we build these homes. That's why I wanted to show you that. Those are artistic concepts. There's a lot of latitude on how you build this thing. I'm showing you some of the engineering, some of the physics, some of the science. You can put these things anywhere. But the cool thing is the green. Green. See how the planet's green. The impact on the environment, nothing. So here's what we come down to. Oh, I got to show you this one thing. How many people, if you put them in habitats this size on Earth, let me rephrase. The UN projects at the end of this century we'll have something on the order of 9 trillion people on Earth. 9 trillion people. Where's my math for this? 9 trillion people. Hope I got the mathematics in here. Somewhere I got the math. Oh, I know where it is. 9 trillion people on the surface of Earth. So if you put all these habitats together in one spot, and they could all be together in one spot because you can grow your feed in them. You don't need anything else. So I would not pack them all in one spot because that would be putting all your eggs in one basket. Besides that, different cultures probably would prefer some separation. But if you did put them all in one spot, how many people, how big an area would it take on Earth to accommodate that many people? How big of an area? Well, I worked it out here, and what it comes out to is an area the size of Texas and New Mexico, or half of Alaska. So I worked out the acreage. How big? Texas and New Mexico would take the entire population of planet Earth. Let me stop this share. Texas, the area of Texas and New Mexico. Half of Alaska. That's all you need for everybody on Earth, the maximum projected population. I think we're going to have to breed more people. We don't have enough. Oh, we're going to take out so much carbon from the atmosphere that we're going to have to strip coal mines and set them on fire to make up for the losses. I'm being facetious, but gosh, guys, seriously, we're probably going to have an ice age. Maybe you like to ski. So there you are. All this whole thing said, we got too many people. All these guys running around the Great Reset. Man, forget the Great Reset. This is better. Green Greg's has bought you an idea that's 1,000% better than the Great Reset because their system will crash when the power goes down. When the grid goes down, you will starve to death because their system very much is resilient on all kinds of intricate interconnectivity, smart systems and stuff that will fail. Their system will fail. Their system is not resilient. Their system is terrible for the environment. Their system is terrible for the economy. Their system is terrible for people. Their system is totalitarian. Their system is pure evil. Bingo. Green Greg's laid it on the line. Why? Because it takes away your freedom, because it is unnatural toward human nature. It says you won't own nothing. People naturally have a property thing. It just goes so much against human nature. Oh, I could go more into that. This is greener. This is far greener than anything they conceive. It is far better. You won't need all the international transportation, the globalism. Their whole system is so dependent upon globalism, global this, global that. And they're going to take everybody off the farms, put you in the ISO shipping containers that are racked or stacked just down the track from the smokestack. So when they don't want you around, you're not coming back. So forget all that. Forget it. We have a greater system. It's far better for the environment, far greener than anything they're going to lay out to you. Greg, people don't want this. The whole idea is don't force people into anything. No, if they don't want to go into it, fine. The other side of this is make this thing so economical, so beautiful, and so resilient. It's all people could imagine to live in. That people will want to. They got to be artistically built. They got to have the art. They got to have the greenery. If they're not up to doing the work, then they can sharecrop it, or we'll find robotic systems to do the work. We'll work it out. We'll make it work where it's going to be the most beautiful thing they've ever seen. You can live in it, make a living. You ain't going to need nothing. Really? Once you got your home built, you got to pay for your home. You got to pay for internet. You got to have some health care. You're not going to need anything else. You're growing your food. You got your energy. Okay, yeah, you will want a car maybe to go around some, but you won't have to have one. That would be an option. People live in the cities probably won't have cars at all. They'll do the call one up. It'll be an Uber robot show up. A robotic Uber thing or something, sky taxi. You'll get in a little drone thing and it'll take you off. George Jetson, Jane is white. Maybe. That's grid crashes. But the grid crashes, this home will still keep rocking and rolling. It's fine. All right, you won't be able to do an internet server farm out of your basement, probably, maybe not, or maybe if it's on fiber optics and you're producing your own power and you find a way to at least run your servers, you might make it work out. You just might work it out, guys. So this is the most resilient concept. We don't need all these big power plants. If you want to have, you still have a few factories and a few places still building ships, and they're going to need power. So there will be still some things out there that need power, including power made from power plants. But we're going to dramatically reduce the need for that. In fact, you probably won't need the roads we got right now. We'll need less roads. We'll need less power distribution systems. We can now focus on making what bit we got very resilient, very tough. How about that? See, I have a dream. And this dream has got freedom in it for everybody. I don't care if you're blue and got 10-foot tall purple hair. I don't care if your eyeballs are on stalks. I don't care what color, creed, or religion you are, as long as you're not trying to stomp everybody else out. But here's the thing: once people are self-sufficient, and somebody from a government comes over to you and puts a bang bang in your hand and tells you, I want you to go over here and bang bang that person, you're gonna go, why? I got everything I need. Why don't I go over and do that? What do we got to get some people? And when his guy tells him the same thing, he'll probably say the same thing. Like, huh? You got to be kidding me. Why I want to put myself at risk to go do that? I got everything I need here. Why do I got to go chase this guy? Now they might try to whoop up some religious fervor, but that's where we need to sit down and just exchange ideas enough to learn to live at peace with each other. Maybe we can do that through exchange of ideas, sharing of ideas, talking, communicating. I think people on Earth can learn to get along. Here's what happens in this world: people rise to power by blaming other people on stuff. It's their fault. It's their fault. And they dehumanize each other, and they play off of each other. Oh, you got to have me defend you from these, and me defend you from these. And they ratchet this game up, and they play us in order to justify where they're at. But they build up these little opposing empires that are dangerous. Now, sometimes some people decide, they want to be in charge. Hey, I'm going to take over the world. They get greedy, or some groups and collectives get the same kind of notions. That's because they got too much power. Well, in a system like this, maybe we can start deflating that a little bit. But in the meantime, there are places in the world today that are like that. And so at this point, we still got to contend with that until we can figure out a way to get their people more free. So, as their base starts telling them, we ain't buying it anymore, then it might change things. This has got to be an idea that just drops in the pool like a pebble and radiates outward. But they may come here and take me out for showing this. But let this drop, let it radiate, let it spread, let it metastasize, because this is the best idea for human habitation ever. Bar none. Now, oh, well, great, we all live in these other houses, those stick-built houses. Yeah, I got one here. Can't afford to do something different, blah, 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 blah. You know what? You probably could, just for saving on utilities. You probably can afford it. What you're paying too much on your house, too much for utilities, those houses should be a lot cheaper to build. These could be retrofit. We could build sandbag walls around these homes. We could build them around part of the yard. We could square off the roof, build another deck up there, and grow food on the roofs. Food, energy. There's ways you can take a home like this and redo it in parts. You don't have to do it all at once, because well, Greg, that'll take time, take money. There's ways that you can take a home like this and make it more resilient to get by, for the time being. Now, some people won't want to do that because, Well, this is the way grandma had it. Okay. So, for a few decades, it'll stay like that. A lot of these houses will fall down anyway. Eventually, that sentimental generations have changed. Sentimental value will kind of dissipate, and more homes can go in the direction I'm talking about. And if there's still a bunch of homes like this, that ain't no big deal because we're going to be building more and more of the better homes that are more resilient, that are greener. Green, like green Gregs. By the way, to be resilient yourself, you should grow your own food. That's the first step you should take, growing your own food. And you could help me and my channel by going to True Leaf Market and buying seeds. You can buy seeds from True Leaf Market, use my links that are below in my show notes and my pin notes to True Leaf Market. And you can also get food that lasts a long time for prepping purposes, prepwithgreg.com. Links to all that below. You can help me and help you at the same time. But this home I'm showing you is already a bug out home. It's a bug out, and the communities would be bug out communities automatically because you're automatically self-sufficient. You don't need dinkum other than what you got in your home, maybe some internet, if you some entertainment, if you want that. And like I said, you could own a car. I got no problem with that. It might be electric, may not. I don't care. I really don't care. But, or several people going together because you're not going to be need to travel as much. Or if you live out in the country, a few people could jointly own a car, have a car co-op, or you could have the Uber. But most people, before you get out in the country, you'll want to drive some or have other transportation. But this whole idea of having, in fact, with bugs and stuff, I'd rather have my own vehicle. Be frank about it. And the vehicles I got, I probably not want to give them up. I'll grab a fixer. You don't get fossil fuel. I'm not making my own fuel. I convert them to hydrogen. I like my old 76 C30 1-ton Chevrolet. You don't get 6 miles a gallon, but it can be converted to hydrogen or alcohol. Wood gas. We can make it green too. So this is really the concept that's going to change, that can change our world. And I'm going to build a couple of these. And I may have to set up a GoFundMe site to really get it going. But and we'll probably make them research sites because we'll have people. I'll probably get some researchers to come in to research various aspects of it because this home will be researched as a home for different places on Earth, like here in Alabama, out in Arizona. So I got a desert, I got a wet place. I may put one in a cold place. Maybe we'll put one in the tropics. Instead of having a greenhouse on top, it'll be shade cloth. And with the right research, we could play around with this thing for the moon, Mars. Even in free space, rotating space habitats, sky cities, ocean cities, seasteads, skysteads, seasteads, skysteads, moonsteads, Marssteads, Venussteads, homesteads, you name it. This can work anywhere. This is my harmony habitat. Why harmony? Because it's in harmony with everything. I've also called it universal habitat because it'll be universally something you can do anywhere. I've used both names interchangeably on it. So there you go. Tell me what you think. We're going to build these things. I'm going to build them. So bear with me. I'll ferret it out, but pretty soon we'll be rolling it out. That's my plan. I got plans for communities. I got this Freedom Restoration Foundation. Links to all that stuff below. If you want to join our survival communities, just email me at info@freedomrestorationfoundation.org and put tribe in the subject line. If you want to join the Freedom Restoration Foundation, put freedom in the subject line. If you want to, well, we are on Facebook. That's probably a shaky proposition. We're on MeWe, but we are trying to set up a website. So bear with us. And I do ask that hang in there. I bring a lot of things to this channel. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe because I show you how to grow gardens, aquaponics, worm farms, microgreens, the gardening without having to buy supplies outside, so you can be perfect prep. And I show wild edibles, and I talk a lot about what's going on in the world. Now, those are touchy topics, and they make some people aggravated. But it's just so you can keep your eyes wide open and head on the swivel, so you know what's coming. That's the purpose of these. And then I've even shown you how to contact your Congress in my previous video. And here I'm showing you ways that we can live in the future. Some people say, "Oh, Greg, you're fear mongering." No, I'm fix it mongering. Every time I put a video out there about something going on in the world, I'm talking about what we can do to fix it. It's not just, buy beans and whatever. You know, I have started groups like this Freedom Restoration Foundation. I have started, you know, I got this power grid defense stuff that I'm active in still, and I've run 2 conferences for a great loss out of my pocket. And I'm working on solutions. I'm working on developing things. I want to change things to be positive. I want to make things free for this world, you know, in terms of how we live, in terms of freedom. And I want to have people where we can get along, for Pete's sake. Get along. You know, I do videos. I tell people to reach out. Waiter girls, close their glasses, reach out the other side. And yet I got a hit on my other video. The last video I put out, the hit that the platform put on there, kind of accused it of being a certain area, which I didn't even discuss in that video. It makes no sense. All I did was talk about how to write your congressman, how to track bills. It's a little tutorial. And they actually kind of made it sound like it was about something else entirely, which I've actually talked against on this channel. It's like, no, it ain't that. And then yet they throw that label on. It's like, really? Really? Wow. Maybe they just don't want you to know what you can do. You have the power. Together, we can make this a good world before they stomp us out. We can make this a good world for everybody. That's our dream. That's my aspiration. We got a lot of work to do. So I know you watch this far. Let's say, Greg, let's make this world a better place. And with that, be the change that you want to see. And stay tuned. More's coming. And oh yeah, I did that video on my channel Galactic Graves about Venus. Check out Galactic Graves. Check out the Venus First video where I go more into the Venus side of it. And also, I may put this on Galactic Graves too, because this is about being green. Now you will see videos on more stuff coming up on the Venus habitat. On that side, I got to show how I operate a Starship-like spacecraft in the atmosphere of Venus. Basically, land in the atmosphere, operate, and launch from the atmosphere. Like first off, without prior infrastructure there. I've worked on it. And how you can mine the surface of Venus. Yes. Somebody said, oh, it can't be done. Oh, yes, it can. You can mine the atmosphere and the surface. There's plenty there. That's coming on that channel, Galactic Gregs and Green Gregs and Galactic Gregs. I'm going to show about on these habitats. On the Galactic Greg side, it'll be more for the space aspect. From the Green Greg side, it'll be more from the aspect of how you can grow your own, how you can be resilient. That's what we're going to do. Everyone, with that I say, the future is ours. Stay tuned. Hang on. It's going to be a rough ride, but the future is ours. Thank you for watching.